The fear of rejection.
Yeah.
You still deal with the fear of rejection?
I feel like we still dealing with it. Yeah.
Why?
Oh.
That sound like you. 3.2 thousand views on there.
3.2? Oh, wow.
That's up a week from the first time I watched it.
That's up. Yeah.
That is.
We have so many systematic issues and problems that from our ancestors, from our parents, that are problematic. We need to learn to unlearn some of those things. Habits become behaviors. And so how are we being intentional with unlearning those things? We learned to be silent in chaos. We need to unlearn those things. Now, I told you all a list of my no's, but I can't leave with telling you a list of my yes. Yes, to being a college graduate. Yes, to receiving a master's degree. Yes, to speaking to over 8,000 people worldwide every year. Yes, to helping thousands of Black women realize that they can lift, not just weight, but anything that they are facing in life. Yes, to being born to a mother at 16. Yes, to having a family that reaffirms you and who you are. And yes, to embracing the chaos. What is your yes? Remember, every moment is a choice. Build those small moments, marbles, into a statue, because you are a work of art. Thank you.
I didn't even think nobody would. So here's the thing. I only told my friends, like, it went live, like, maybe, 15 people. Mm-hmm. And I didn't post on social media. I looked at it. The first time I looked at my test, I was like, oh, it's 100 views, whatever. So I'm not going to look anymore. Nobody wants to see this. Then I sent it to 15 of my friends, whatever. Didn't post it on social media. Then I went back, like, a month later. I was like, oh, it's two. My mentor was like, yeah, I watched it. And 2,000 other people. I was like, really? You know, and some people are like, because, you know, some people get, like, thousands of views. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's not a big deal. But also, it was just like, my goal was just to touch one person. Yeah. So, like, if I touch one, mission accomplished.
The goal is to always touch one person, but that one should multiply eventually.
Yeah.
If you know what you're supposed to do.
If you're doing what you're supposed to do.
And if it doesn't multiply.
Yeah. And then.
It's time to reconvene.
Well, and then that was the first time I really seen myself speak. Like,
really?
I've watched videos, but I cringe. I'd be like, I don't want to watch it. But, like.
Why do people do that to themselves?
I don't know, but I watched it. And I was like, you're actually good. Like, gifted. Like, you are good.
Yeah, literally.
It's
hard for a lot of people to be good speakers for some reason.
Yeah. My granny told me I was good. So I was like, okay, maybe this might be true. You know, Black people ain't gonna just lie to you.
You're right. Do you judge a lot of what you do based upon what other people say?
I think I went through a journey of seeking validation, but I think this was the first time I was proud of a piece of art that I did. Mm-hmm. Like, yes, because I speak to an audience, so their client. So, like, sometimes, yes, I do go off of the validation of others when it comes to my speaking, but this was the first time, honestly, I was proud. I was really just proud of what I did, you know? Mm-hmm. And I didn't care if nobody else like it. In my mind, after I seen it, I was like, nah, this is raw. Yeah. Like, I wrote down notes for myself. Like, I'm like, okay.
That's a good level to get to.
Yeah.
So I think when you carry yourself with a certain level of confidence, people think that you're already there. Mm-hmm. And they don't realize that it's still the journey of, like, I'm not totally confident in what it is that I offer. And I know that there's so much room to grow. But when you walk in with the confidence like you do, and still give the message, people receive it well. So I think it's a good thing when people do receive what you do with confidence, although there may be a hint of insecurity in speaking or whatever someone gets faced.
Yeah, I think also because people think that I'm a big deal, like a big time speaker. I don't see myself like that. I still see myself as like this Gary girl that's just like telling her story. Mm-hmm. And like my life has just changed from fitness, so many different things. And so it's hard for me to see myself the way people see me. I'm still seeing myself as like smaller and like when I'm not even weight, but like down here, it's like, oh, I'm humble. I'm still striving. There's so much more I could do. And so many other people see me like, oh my God, like you do all this stuff. And I'm just like, huh.
How do you see yourself?
I see myself as one, always a child of God, but also just this gift. Now I'm seeing myself like the gift to talk, and like this person that is literally in a position to help so many Black women. Like, I used to complain about just my journey of like fitness and like not loving myself and like losing weight and all these things, but like now it's like 10 years later, I'm able to help so many people. So I just see myself as like a gift from God to really just help people with either their weight loss journey, either with their identity, or just honestly getting to the next level in life. I get fueled like from helping other people. It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary.
I get that. It's crazy to relate to that.
It's scary. Like,
it is.
My heart gets filled when someone else is like thriving. Like, I help them get to that, or like they're losing weight, or it's just, I don't know what it is, but like, I think this is the first season in my life where I had to show up for myself. It's easy to show up for other people. Yeah. It's so easy to be like being someone else's cheerleader. It is so hard for me to be my own cheerleader, and for me to tell myself every day, you can do this. You got this. Like, damn if no one else shows up. Dang if nobody else look at your TED Talk. Like, it's good because God says it's good. And so, like, it's hard, though.
Yeah, it is hard. You put that into words beautifully, though, because sometimes we do. When you're in the servant leadership job position, you literally get fuel from making people feel better. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when you make people feel better, that's the only way for you to keep going.
Yeah, and for me, it's just like, sometimes that's the hardest thing, to keep getting yourself up. Like I said, just finding clarity in all what's going on. But the crazy thing is, I'm finally coming to a realization. I've been told no so many times, or like I've been knocked down so many times, just even being a Black woman. Like, it's not even about getting knocked down. It's just like, how do I respond to it? And I just feel like I was not raised in the environment of the world and put me in a place where like I knew how to respond to no. I just knew I was gonna be told no. I knew that like it was always gonna be something against me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think a lot of people don't understand, like, what, 3 degrees? I went to school. I did all these type of things, but I feel like I had to do that at a point in time. Like, my parents always raised me to be like, be better. Like, no one's gonna give you anything, so you have to show up. You know, education. My father really values education and just learning, not just education like you go to school, but like the value of learning. And so I've always just was striving to like get to some place. And I'm just at a space now, honestly, talking to you, where I'm exhausted. Like, I just feel like I don't know what's next. I've tried and tried, and like, okay, we get here. But I also think, like, just as being a woman, especially like a Black woman, we always just feel like it's never enough, or like that nurturing, that person of like, okay, what's next? Yeah. Like, us as humans, we don't know how to sit in like, I'm cool, I'm content. Like, I don't have to make this dollar. I don't have to do X, Y, and Z. Like, I have a normal life and it's calm. And so sometimes when your life is calm, you don't know how to navigate that, because you're not, you so used to dealing with chaos. My friend, Danae just said that. She was like, how about like, is it because you're at this space of like, it's calm and you're so used to everything being chaotic? And I was like, I had to think about that. I'm like, I mean, I guess so. I'm at a calm place. Yeah. And it's like, I'm so used to being, this is what it is. I'm so used to surviving. And I'm not at a space where I have to survive. And when you're at a space where you don't have to survive, it's like, it's different. It's different.
I mean, it's like we're raised to be at war almost. And we're always on defense mode, trying to protect ourselves. But what do you do when you've geared yourself and put yourself in a position to where you're able to live? But you're so used to just surviving.
That's a good, I don't know. I guess you got to, unlearn to learn, and also train your mind and train yourself to be just content.
Yeah. Which is a hard thing, because especially in today's day and age, we're always constantly striving for something.
Oh, yeah.
And even when we get what we wanted, it doesn't feel like enough. Mm-hmm. And we'll look at other people have things that we think that we want, and because we don't have it, we feel empty. We feel less than. And it's like, remember where you were a year ago or 5 years ago or 10 years ago. And remember that you have, or think about how you have what you wanted now that you wanted back then. And then we'll look at that and we'll be like, but this still ain't enough. It's like a new car, feel good for a week.
Mm.
And then after that, it's like, dang.
Well, the smell still be there. That new car, like the smell still be there for like a month. But like even with the new car, it's like, oh, I did this. I think we're like, okay, well, in 5 years, I'm gonna get this car. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, I wonder, how will life be if like we didn't have any aspirations?
Yeah.
Or like any goals?
I mean, but aspirations essentially keep us going.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to find the balance between having something to strive for versus, to your point, being content in what I have. I think there's a balance you have to find there. It's like you have to learn how to be content, because without contentment, you'll always be in a survival mode. But also at the same time, having something to strive for, having a goal or something, is literally what keeps us going.
Yeah. And I think also, as I talked about this before, like I'm not exploring, like developing a muscle to gain a relationship with God. And so as I am doing that, it is, I think it's a struggle for me. It's not a struggle for me to develop the relationship with God, but it's something I'm not used to doing. I'm so used to trying to be in control, and it's just like, well, maybe that's my problem.
Yeah.
Maybe that's my problem. I'm trying to do everything. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to say like all these type of things, and like surrendering is hard. I think people say like, I see it in church and all types of like surrender to him and all. It is hard.
It is hard.
It is hard to give yourself and yield yourself to someone, but I know, and I've seen the benefits from others when you do it. Imagine how just relief you would be, because, you know, it's just heavy. And someone said this to me, is because I'm so used to lifting heavy weight that like I'm always feeling like I can just take more and more. And so if I have to take that weight off and give it to him, it's like, how do I do that?
Right.
You know, like, it's mind-blowing to me, and it gives me some type of just chills, because it's just like, you don't have to do all these things. You don't have to, you know, carry all these things when you surrender. And when you really yearn and develop that type of relationship you want with God, things may be different. And the direction may be different. Your career may be different. Like, it's just so many different things, but it's hard. It's work. It's using a muscle that I have not used in a very long time, or have not been able to use for myself. My parents instill, you know, me to go to church or whatever the case may be, but like I have to develop that muscle myself, and it's hard.
It is very hard. Being raised in church, literally the first 22, 23 years of my life, I never missed a Sunday.
Really?
Yeah, and then I got to a point, I'm like,
you like, 12 o'clock service, all right. Who got the 12? Ugh.
Oh my God. And my grandfather's a pastor, so growing up in his church, we was literally there Sunday school, main service, and then back for evening service.
Breakfast, lunch, dinner time.
No, literally. Wednesday night Bible study, Tuesday night Bible class, Thursday night choir rehearsal. We was in there all the time.
Live there.
Yeah, and then it just started feeling like a movement.
Yeah.
I'm like, where's the relationship piece at? Which we know, religion is and people always have the conversation of religion versus relationship, but religion is literally anything that you do over and over and over again. But if you're missing the relationship piece, if you're missing the intimacy, it won't feel totally real.
That's tea right there. No, because literally that is what I'm yearning for. Like, going to church, that's what we programmed to do. You program to go to church and get your cup filled and, you know, donate, you do whatever you need to do for that week. But when you are in communion and relationship with God, I feel like it is in you. You don't have to be in a building. You can open your word and you're asking for clarity and understanding. You can literally feel connected to him in the car, whatever case may be. That is a relationship. That is something that is so powerful and so just mind and life changing versus just using a muscle to go to church. Like, I can go to the gym every single time, and that doesn't mean that I'm going to get what I need just because I show up.
Yeah. And even the idea of what church is anyways. Church is supposed to be a community. And we'll talk about it as if it's just a location or a space that we go to, like the gym or something. I'm going to get refilled or whatever, but we missed the community part, which community is so important. You talked about that in your podcast. I mean, not your podcast, but in your TED Talk a lot about the power of community. And I think when you involve yourself in community, it helps to increase the intimacy because it's real. And when you learn to be intimate with each other within the community and say things like, this is what I'm going through, this is what I need help with, it kind of helps you be stronger.
The muscle and the vessel to speak up and say, this is what I need, right? Like, and that's what I talked about. That was the biggest thing with the community. A lot of times I use this analogy, we keep everything inside the house, and like what happens in this house stays in this house. But I think that's the problem. I think we're not communicating what we need to us, what's happening within this house. This house could be within your body, it could be within your mind, it could be within your circle. Like, the house is not just a figuratively thing of like, oh, my mom, my dad. It's just like, what is happening within inside of you, and how do you articulate and communicate that to say, I need help. I need you to call me every day. I need you to actually check up on me because I am lonely, or X, Y, and Z. I need spiritual guidance or connection. Like, being able to articulate, that's an emotional intelligence, so sometimes we don't know how to do because we wasn't programmed or trained to do so. That's the thing that's like mind-blowing to me, and that's why I feel like I say, like, when people look at me in a different way, I'm like, I'm so humble because I just know how it feels to like not know, or to like not know who to talk to, or to not even ask for help, or to be drowning. Yeah, you drowning and you depressed and you don't like yourself and you don't even know what to do, and people telling you to therapy, people telling you work out, but like it sound good, but I still gotta do it, you know. So like.
And even to that point, a lot of times it's not about knowing what to do. It's about having the strength to do it, which is what I say the most helpful thing that we can do for each other is encourage. Because most people know exactly what they need to do to solve the problems that they have, but they don't feel as if they have the strength. So it's like when somebody is low and they come to you and say, hey, I need help, the most important thing to do is say, do you know what you need to do? And then encourage them to actually do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like being able to do it. That's the thing, and that's the hardest thing. I had a follow-up question for you because I talked about a lot about just clarity and chaos. Do you feel like life is supposed to be a little chaotic?
I don't think peace exists without chaos.
Okay.
So it's kind of like the yin and yang. I don't know which side was which, but the black and the white and the black. Peace has to exist inside of chaos for you to even know what peace is. And then chaos has to exist inside of peace because they kind of, it's the duality of life, right? It's like up, down, left, right, on, off, peace, chaos. So I think that chaos is necessary. But through the chaos, you have to learn how to find the peace. Because without chaos, we wouldn't even know that peace exists.
Yeah. And I think for me, it's like the peace, but also, why did this happen? And then, like, for me, even some low parts in my life, I'm just like, why am I experiencing this so many different times? Because you ain't learned the lesson you was supposed to learn. You keep doing the same thing. It keep happening because you're not learning the lesson. And that's why I have to tell myself, like, okay, Lashata, how many times you going to keep doing this? How many times you going to keep talking to this man? How many times you going to keep, be in a relationship with these friends? Like, all of those things, I'm like, okay, I guess I ain't learned.
Why do we continue to do the things, even when we do learn, and we know this is no good for us? Why do we continue to do the things that are no good for us?
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like we don't know how it feels for something to feel good, because we so used to that hurt. Like, when something is actually good, it's like, no, I don't know how to feel, so I accept the chaos. Yeah. Yeah, I think.
So accept the bare minimum because the thought of nothing is terrifying. Basically.
Ooh, maybe so. I mean, I'll even get we can go a little deeper with this, because I talked about this on the podcast before, even with dating. Sometimes we accept the bare minimum because the thought of sometimes being by ourselves is so scary. So we accept, whether it's whoever, like, we accept the things that we know is just so harmful to us. Or we know this is not adding value, or we know this is not the person, that God has for us. But we accept it because we have some demons and we have some things within inside of us that we are fighting, that we do not want to be by ourselves.
So do you think that it's because of our own idea of ourselves?
Oh, I think absolutely. I think the confidence with ourselves, the idea, what society puts onto us, the difference. Someone says it's the difference between being alone and lonely.
Huge difference.
It's a huge difference, but you have to be comfortable with yourself. And I say this all the time, the longest relationship you have is with yourself, and people don't believe me.
I literally repeat that all the time. Like,
It's the longest relationship.
The longest relationship and the most important relationship. Everybody else you can block. You could literally not talk to them no more. But yourself, you can't divorce yourself.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing. I was talking at a Mom's Giving event, and I was telling the moms, that is the relationship that means the most, right? Like, regardless if you're a parent, regardless if you're a wife, like, when it's all said and done, when everything is over, when you, whatever the case may be, kids grow up, husband's gone, whatever the case may be, how are you with yourself? Yeah. Spending time by yourself and your own thoughts. You know, I'm a busy person, and I think this is a season where I have to slow down because I need that clarity. Mm-hmm. And, like, sometimes I'm so busy because I don't want to just sit and deal with it. Yeah. Deal with it. My therapist said, like, it is okay to be upset. It is like, you're trying to run and say, like, oh, it's cool, like, it is what it is, but, like, is what it is? Like, no, that hurt.
You can't run away from what's inside of you because it's always going to be with you. So you have to deal with it. And too often we try to run away from what's inside of us and wonder why we still feel like we're at war. It's because you haven't fought the battle yet. It's like, if you want to be free, you have to fight the battle. And you have to defeat the enemy that is within first and foremost. And we'll try to point the blame on a lot of other different things that are outside of ourselves, and we still wonder why we feel incomplete. It's because we haven't looked inside first, which is the most important place to look.
That's the most, like, important work.
Yeah.
And it's so hard.
It is hard. But I think we both know, just because something is hard doesn't mean that it isn't necessary. And we have to do the necessary things if we want to be fulfilled. But we'll put that label hard on certain things, and then we'll put it in the back. Wow, that's hard. I'm not going to do it right now.
Yeah, I just want to be ghetto and chill. I want to be ghetto. I want to be my man. I don't want to do the work.
Do you feel, no, literally, but do you feel like the calling that was attached to your life? First, do you feel like you chose the calling that's attached to your life, or do you feel like it was given to you?
Oh, I feel like it was given to me. I've always thought about talking, but, like, the opportunities that have presented itself, I think it's just a gift. Like, I have no formal training to talk in front of people, technically. Like, I have education, sure. I have stories, sure. But no one has really, like, taught me. Like, I didn't go through a severe boot camp and be like, this is how you talk. This is how you be a speaker. So the way in which I capture people and the way people have told me how I am powerful and how I can capture a room, that is not something that's just, like, to me, for me, taught. It's something that I feel like God is just given to me. And, like, it's sometimes scary, because I just didn't know how powerful I could be or how I am until experiencing it. And like I said, when I looked at my talk and really looked at it, I was just like, girl, okay, like, okay, you've been playing for real. And so I think for me, it's a gift. And also it's another gift, the layers of me in fitness. Like, I think, yes, you can learn how to be a trainer, you can learn all those things, but, like, the compassion that I show people, the grace that I give women who are, like, going through their own battles with their body, I think it's just a gift. I am a giver at heart, and so it's hard for me to watch someone struggle in the gym because I just remember just how I felt. So there's just two types of gifts, but I do think it's not something I will put this on record. I have not been taught how to talk. I think I've just trained myself, but also, like, it's just an anointing from God, because sometimes I'll have a talk and I'll have something written and it'll be exactly how I say it, but then I'll go on the stage and, like, it'll stay on point, but, like, I'll hear something and I'm like, no, I think I need to say this right there and there, like, So, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
It is hard to explain, but those who get it, get it.
Those who don't. Yeah, exactly.
You ever feel like you tried to run away from your gift?
Oh yeah. It's been like 2 years since we sat down, I guess, and recorded. When I left closed out the last business, I didn't know if I was gonna talk or speak or show up for people again. Like, I was just like, I'm over it. Like, what is this? Am I good enough? Do I deserve to be here? It was do I deserve to be here? And so, yeah, it was hard for me to kind of pick myself up. But going back to community, I had to ask my dad for help. And I had to tell my people, like, I don't know if I want to talk again. I don't know if I want to speak again. I don't know what I want to do. My friend Aisha, she was like, girl, are you serious? There is no one that can do what you do. Like, really had to reaffirm me and also just, like, pour into me and just give me the things that I needed. But y'all almost was like, I'm done with this. Like, for what? It's too much work. Mm-hmm. It is work. And it's just like, this is not easy for me.
Yeah.
But I don't think something that you really want is supposed to be just super easy. I think it comes easy to me to talk. That comes effortlessly. I can talk. But it's the work that goes behind the talk, the work, it goes behind the gift. And when to use it, when not to use it, and when to be quiet. Because I talk often, it's just like that. But so to go back to your question, yeah, 2 years ago, I was just like, I'm about to be done with this. I think I allowed me being in the industry where I predominantly talk to a lot of white people. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of white students, a lot of white people, and it's just like, I was in this space just like, okay, I need to take a step back. I need to figure out just some different things about me and like, should I be in this space? Should I be talking about this? Is what I'm saying. Is it really relevant? Does it matter to people?
Is it important?
Is it important? And so a lot of self-reflection, a lot of self-journey, still working, right? Like, I tell people, like, I am nowhere near where I want to be, but I think that's the beauty of it, right? So, like, but I am in a way better space than what I used to be.
Yeah.
Because I'm up every morning, and I'm making a stride to show up for myself, even when it hurts, even when I'm tired, and that is different. And I'm making an effort to accept my gift. I did not accept that I had a gift. I was just like, oh, it's a thing. Yeah, I talk. I'm a speaker. Or, yeah. No, it is a gift that I have, and regardless of how I think people have, because I've had people say bad things about me or, like, accuse me of different things or whatever, but I know that what I do, everyone just can't do.
Yeah.
And now I'm at a space where I'm confident to say that, like, regardless of whatever anyone thinks, like, that type of emotion, that type of thing that you can give to an audience, that's not just something you can steal. It has to be something that is gifted and something that's just within you. So, yeah.
There's a lot of repeaters out here who try to take and say things that is not from them and then wonder why it falls on.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I can say something someone else said, and that's fine, but it's just like, it's how they receive the message that I'm saying.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's really the person who gives the message.
That's the tea. That's the tea, and that's why I was just like, it's a gift, because I can say something someone else said, and it's different, but how I'm saying it or how am I using it, also, like, how is it received? I have the spirit that people receive it because I lay a lot on the table. I tell a lot about myself when I talk, and so.
And that's one thing that no one can steal is your story.
That's true.
And the journey that you've been through. That's what makes us unique as human beings. It's like we'll go through a certain journey by ourselves and nobody else has the same experience as you. Whether it be your siblings, whether it be your parents, whether it be your colleagues. And the stories that we have is what makes us powerful.
Yeah, it's the originality of us. Like, no one can take, your journey and who you are and the ways in which you show up. And so that's what kind of makes me uniquely different, because I stay authentic and original to myself. I'm from Gary, 219 in the building. And so, sometimes I talk on my hands, or like I talk with Ebonics, or like I say jokes and all these things. But that's just me.
That's
like
you.
How I am on stage sometimes. It's just like my friends like, oh, that's her on the normal. Like, I'm gonna say some jokes. I'm gonna say, okay, whoa, what are we doing? Like, I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna do all these things, and that is me.
Yeah.
I don't like for people to see when you see me on the stage, off the stage, when you see me out, this who I am. Right. I'm a tee up. I might bust a chicken head outside the car, Or I love to sing. I don't think I can sing that good, but I love to sing. Like,
That's all good.
be in the car singing, like, who hurt you? What are you doing? Like crying, singing in my phone. Like, these people are not listening. But it just brings me joy, and I'm sure it makes people laugh, and that makes me laugh and smile. Seeing other people smile.
People love the real.
Big.
We've been going so long, we didn't even do an introduction.
Oh, okay. Go.
We didn't do none of that.
Okay,
We
let's
just
do it.
jumped right into it.
Let's do it.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Well, as y'all know, I'm your host, Tyrus Duncan. Welcome to the Journey Up podcast, 30 minutes into it. Just a reminder of the concept. The Journey Up is a storytelling podcast that dives deep into the personal journeys through life's darkest hours and the resilience it takes to rise again. Each episode features a guest who shares a raw, unfiltered account of one of the lowest points in their life and the trials and tribulations they face. Listeners will hear about the challenges, breakthroughs, and the strength it took to overcome adversity. We had a great 30-minute conversation just now.
Oh.
Well, let's dive into the meat. Take me to the...
meat. You know, I don't eat meat. Okay.
You know what I mean.
It's like, all right.
Take me to the lowest moment of your life, and let's talk about how you were able to transcend past it.
Why you trying to go all deep there? Wait, lowest moment.
It's not Tyrus if it ain't deep.
Right. Take me to the lowest moments. Okay, that was serious. And we're back. Lowest moments. I've had a few, but I think the lowest moment of my life is honestly when I don't even talk about recent one. When I closed out the last business that I had, and I won't talk about just the closeout or whatever, no, but I didn't have a job 2 years ago. I literally had to start over. Like, when I say start over, like, what do I want to do for a career? What do X, Y, and Z? Because literally 2 years ago, I had to make a decision that I didn't know was going to change my life. I didn't know that was going to change my finances. I didn't know that, you know, and I had to close out a relationship and a friendship too that was really hard for me. And so all these things I had to close 2 years ago, and I didn't have no direction. I ended up subleasing my apartment in Terre Haute. It just worked out that way. I had literally, it was in May. I called my grandma, Granny MJ, and I was just like, I don't think I want to stay here anymore. I was in Terre Haute. If you know Terre Haute, Indiana, it ain't it. If
Yikes.
it's a college town, it's not it. I didn't have hardly anyone there. And I was telling my grandma, I was laughing, we was talking. I was just like, I don't think I want to be here anymore. I don't have any family here. I am not employed here at this university anymore. I don't want to be by myself. And she was like, girl, if you want to come home, come home. And I was just like, at the time, I was 30. I'm like, I'm 30 years old. What do I look like going back home? Like, I'm successful. I had all this money. Like, I'm buying bags. I'm doing all these things. How would I look to come back? And so I ended up finding a sublease for my apartment, and it ended up working out. My dad came, packed all my stuff up. My students, my former students at Indiana State, they came as well. Shout out to the men at Omega Psi Phi, Kappa Psi. Love them guys. They came, they helped me pack up all my whole apartment, you know, and I said bye to that chapter. I left a lot within that chapter, but I just remember being so alone when I decided to quit my job. I remember being in a sorority, but didn't talk to like half of my sorority sisters in the area. I didn't talk to anybody. No one checked up on me. I think that's what I remember the most when I lived in Terre Haute. No one checked up on me. And I think that's when I had to call my grandma. And like I said, my students helped me pack up everything. And it's kind of like that scene from Fresh Prince. Like, you like, all right, this is it. All right, back to Gary. So I moved back to Gary for a little bit. And my grandma just made my heart just smile. She's the type of person that, like, so appreciative to just be living, you know? And so she She would make me breakfast in the morning, wash my clothes. She told me, now you can stay here, but don't touch my wash and dryer. I said, okay, girl. So Granny washing the clothes. And life started to turn up a little bit differently. You know, I started to get up a little bit more. I started to feel a little bit better. I started to realize, like, maybe I could do something different. I didn't know if I was going to still continue to speak. God ended up giving me a few more clients. I still was talking here and there to make ends meet, but it wasn't what the magnitude I was doing. And during the same time, when I left the university and left where I was at, a lot of people stopped talking to me. So, like, I just felt like I was questioning who my friends were. I was questioning so much about myself, but I never questioned Granny MJ because she consistently always showed up. And she consistently reminded me that life can be taken for granted. And you need to appreciate the smallest things you have, like a place to go, food to eat. And so I went from surviving to, like, I think like 6-7 months later, I end up getting a job, the job that I work at now, because one of my friends mentioned my name in a room. And they were saying they was looking for someone to do the equity strategy. And he was like, his name was Rob. He was like, you need to meet Lashata. She is the best at what she does. And mentioned my name, and it kind of took off from there. Of course, I ended up packing some of my stuff up, moving to Indianapolis. And then my dad, I ended up living with him for a little bit. So once again, I'm leaving Granny MJ to my dad, living with him. I'm still 30. I'm 30-something. Mind you, a few years before that, I'm making good money. I'm 6, I'm up, I'm bad. Like, I'm in my bag. Like, spending money. Spending before that. Like, sections at the club. Yep. Bags. Yep. Let's just sending people money. Like, the way in which I was spending money was ridiculous years before this happened. And so I was just like, how did I get here? How did I get here? And so I really had to just talk to God a lot. I had to talk to my friends. Like I said, I ended up getting a job and ended up getting out on my own again and ended up building up my clientele again. I had a mentor to tell me, like, you can't give up, you know? And so I continued to talk, some small leads here and there. Some people mentioned my name. My job was probably, and that's why I'm still at my job now, was the healthiest place I've been because they just helped me get my confidence back and made me realize, like, no, I am that girl. And so, but it was just, I say the lowest moment because I just didn't know who I was. And I really had to pick myself back up. And people, I mean, it's the first time I'm sharing, like, in this totality, all these details of, like, leaving Terre Haute, picking the pieces up of my life. Like, people don't know, like, what I went through 2 years ago. I didn't want to get up. I'm crying, like, I'm broke. How am I broke? You know, like, and literally having to pick myself up and show up for myself and realize that, like, if nobody else is in the crowd showing up for me, I have to show up. And Granny MJ gonna show up every single time. And so it made me, in that sense, realize that you gotta take some step back to go forward. And going home in my hometown made me appreciate where I come from. Made me feel loved. And also just made me realize that, like, I'm probably not going back. Like, I've come too far. You know what I'm saying? Being from Gary, being a first generation college student, doing all the things that I've done, like, you can do it. And so, I don't know, some type of fire, some type of drive. I was just like, I can't stay here. I can't stay on the ground. And so I just started to, like I said, pick up the pieces of my life and started to do things. I also realized that, okay, we need to reevaluate how we spend them finances. Mm-hmm. Because, okay, if we get back to where we want to be at, like, how are we going to do some things differently? And I think sometimes that being flashy is one of the biggest problems, too, is like, oh, you got to show you got it. No, you don't. You don't got to do that. You don't got to spend money in X, Y, and Z, but, yeah. I learned so many lessons, and I tell people when they see me talk and when they see me show up, it's just like, I am a product of like just having people that show up for me, just having a family. And so it is hard to have that lowest moment of my life 2 years ago, but I don't think I would be how I am and who I am and talk how I talk now if I didn't have those moments. And just appreciate God. Like, every time I walk into my place, I'm getting a check in the mail. People are booking me. Like, I am grateful. I am grateful not because I am great at what I do. I am grateful because it was a season of my life where I didn't think that I would be able to do it again. And so, yeah, a lot of stuff that used to matter to me, it don't matter. I don't care if someone's just like, oh, well, you did X, Y, and Z, or you're not a good student. I know what I've been through. I know who was there, and I also know how God really showed up for me. And that's when my faith started to get stronger. And also realized that, like, I'm going about this all wrong. And so I told God, if he, when you ask God for stuff, you like praying, you in stress, and I'm praying to God, I'm crying. After I get the job, I'm like, if you help me, because I feel like a lot of people do this, like transactional. God, if you get me out of this, I promise I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And I was just like, you know what? God, I keep promising you things. I keep saying I'm going to do this X, Y, and Z. I just need to gain a relationship with you. Everyone else just keeps saying that it is so great to be in community and in relation with you. Like, I just need to get some help. I need some direction. I don't know what I'm doing. And I just talk to him like I talk to you. Like, that'd be real simple. I'm not one of the people that be praying. I ain't there yet. Sorry. I'm low bar. But, yeah, talking to him and putting forth the work. But, yeah, 2 years ago I felt like the roughest time of my life because I just felt like a bum. I felt like a failure. I was 30-something going back to the crib. I was 30-something having to pack up my clothes. I was 30-something having to ask my family for help. I was 30-something not managing my money the way it needed to be. You know what I'm saying? But to everybody else, I'm shining. But I am melting in the inside. I was 30-something and so many people that I thought was my friends turned their back on me and said some of the hurtfulest things I could imagine. And I needed all that to happen. I needed all of that to happen because my mentor said this, and I say this to my students, if you don't take yourself out of the driver's seat, they will never learn how to drive. And so someone else had to take themselves out the driver's seat for me to learn how to drive, for me to show up for myself. I've never showed up for myself the way I have now, and so I went through grieving. I'm still grieving my old life and old things, but, like, I'm learning how to be my own cheerleader and to appreciate what God has given me. So that lowest moment, I think people don't realize because they see so much of me shining, and they don't see why I work so hard. I work so hard because I started over, and God gave me another chance. And so I'm just like, I gotta live the best. I gotta try. You know what I'm saying? So lowest moment recently of my life. I had some past ones, but I feel like that was the recent one that people probably didn't know too much about of my life. And so I just know, like I said, I'm a fighter. I am a fighter. I don't stop swinging. I don't know. It's something about me. I think it's my mom. I think it's my grandma. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm just a black woman, but, like, I don't give up. I don't give up on myself. I just don't give up. Like, when I thought I did, that's when I needed that lift from Granny MG, or I need that lift from, like, God to be like, nah, you ain't down. Nah, you need to come on. So, yeah, I mean, low moments. And then I'm here, And then I think this is so nostalgic because during that low moments, you filmed me. When I was giving the announcement to everyone, I was closing out a business and the chaos and all those type of things. And we talked about so many different things. I had gained like 20 pounds too. Sis was a little donut out here eating. But I had gained weight. I was just unhappy. My skin was just messed up, everything. But I told you when I recorded the video a year or so ago, I was like, I like to look people in their face. I need to get in front of a camera and face whatever it is that I'm supposed to face. And he was like, all right, let's do it. And like, let's face it. And to be back here now after some time and getting my life together and all those type of things, it's just like, it's a reminder to me now of like testimony and just like how life, you really think it is bad, but it's not. And then also realizing that like, God is not going to take the best thing away from you. The pain, whatever you think that you're going through, like, that's why I had to keep telling myself. I say it now, like, he's not going to take the best thing away from me. He wouldn't do me like that. It's something way better. You know? So, yeah.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
A beautiful reflection of what you said was the lowest moment of your life. And I remember that shoot, too. Mm-hmm. And you were like, Tyrus, I don't know what I'm going to do next.
I don't know what I'm going to say. Look, I didn't even have a script. People think, I don't know what I'm going to say.
He's like, to be honest, I don't know what I'm doing. But just doing something, I think that kind of helped transcend you to where you are now. Mm-hmm. And looking back on that moment, where did you find the strength to continue? Because a lot of people do get to these low moments and they just give up. And we talked about this just a little bit ago of the power of encouragement and encouraging people while they're very low to find the strength to continue. Where did you find the strength to continue?
You know, that's a good question. And I couldn't help but think about my brothers. You know, I got like 7 brothers, big boys. Like, I'm the shortest one, but I'm the oldest. And like, I always think of them. And I was just like, I've always been that person for them. Like the person that like had it all together, X, Y, and Z. And like, one of my brothers had paid my cell phone bill. Like, I didn't have it to pay my cell phone bill. And I was just like, my brothers need to honestly see me get myself back up. They need to know that, like, regardless of whatever happens, you can do whatever you put your mind to. You know, I'm the oldest, and I pride myself on being the oldest. To show up for my siblings, and I'll do whatever for my brothers, no doubt. But my brothers, honestly, they don't even realize it. Like, they made me realize that, like, I cannot stay like this. Like, you know, they look up to me. They value who I am. You know, I'm just Tay-Tay to them. I'm Tay. I ain't Lashata. I'm not speaker. I'm not all these titles. I'm none of that. I'm just a sister. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I felt like they needed to see that. They needed to, you know, see me putting in a fight to continuously show up for myself. And then also, I think my mom, you know, my mom had me at 16. And so I always tell myself, like, if my mom could go through everything she went through, had me, went through criticism, all those type of things, and continue to show up, I can do it too. And so those were some of the things that kind of played up in my head. And, like, I come from a family of, like, just dominant, strong women anyway. So I'm just like, yeah, you can't leave like this. But I think my brothers, for sure, like, being the oldest and, like, carrying that and, like, being from Gary and just, like, nah. They had to see me, like, it's work. I can't be on them and telling them, like, you need to get up in the morning and apply for a job. You need to stop doing this. If I'm being the person that's laying in the bed and not living up to the values and principles that I'm trying to teach them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, nah, this ain't gonna work.
Basically, you felt the call to not give up and to show up because you know that people are watching you.
Yeah, and not just people, the people that mean the most to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People are watching, but also, like, yeah, I think that's really it. People are watching, and it's not the outside people. It's just, like, the people that, like, are closest to my heart that, like, I've done so, you know, much for. Like I said, I'm a first-generation college student, so I was the first in my family to go to college. I was the first in my family to be in a sorority. I was the first to really move off. You know what I'm saying? So I really think that I needed that win for me, but also for them. And they don't even know. Like I said, like I'm talking about now, they don't even know.
Yeah.
They was a part of it. But yeah.
That's crazy to say because a lot of people don't know how much effect that they play on another person's life. Mm-hmm. It's like they could just be living and not knowing that just by their existence, you're causing somebody else to want to be better. Mm. That also keeps me going. I'm like, I have to show up not only for myself, but because of the people that I love. Mm. And they deserve to get the best of me.
They deserve to get the best version of me. And honestly, not even the best version. They deserve all versions.
Yeah.
they get to see the full best, but I think that was the first time our brothers had seen me like struggle.
And I mean, I think that helps make people realize that it's real.
And you're human.
Yeah, because we can't be perfect. There's one man that was perfect.
That humanized me. I think to my family, to people, it made me human. That you messed up. Okay, you need help. That's what family is for.
Yeah. And family, the one thing I love about they will love you through it. Even when you are at the lowest moments. They're like, if they really have the love in their hearts, a lot of people will have the transactional love where they only love you if you have something to offer them. But if somebody loves you when you have nothing to offer them, that could save your life.
That touches your heart in a different way when someone loves you when you have nothing.
When you have nothing, and that's how you know the love is real or that it's true. It's like, I have nothing to give you, but you know what I've given you before and you know who I am.
But, and you know, it's just so crazy because, like, even to bring this back to what I said with God, what we just said is just like, why don't we yearn for him in that way? Yeah. He loves you, and you have, I have nothing to give you that's going to be there. He just wants you to literally invest and to literally have that community and relationship with him. And, like, we still don't do it. Yeah. Ain't that just interesting?
It's very interesting. God is an interesting concept as a whole.
Yeah. But going back to, like I said, just that low moment, it's just crazy. And now even me talking about it, because it was put in my heart, I'm like, I could have talked about my weight loss story. I could have been like, that was a low moment. But I'm like, girl, you didn't pass that. Like, yeah, we know about the weight loss. We know that. But, like, what has recently happened? Yeah. My 20s is totally different from my 30s. And so, yeah. And I think also my former students, too. I love my former students. Being in higher education, I've been in education for almost 10 years. 8. Like, I used to be a special education teacher. I used to work at the after-school program. I've worked in a daycare for, like, 3 years. I worked at university. Like, I have been doing education for a very long time. And so them calling me or them also realizing they seeing me leave my last job, they needed to see me take a win, too. So, like, now they see, like, you just kept pushing through. You kept pushing through. A lot of my students, they end up graduating. Like, they call me and say, like, thanks for, like, helping me and, like, getting me across that stage. You know, especially black students. Black students, they need to see more people get up. Yeah. Especially black students.
It's not seen too often. We're not shown too much in a positive light, and we don't always have positive people to look up to. So for you even to accept that role and responsibility as learning that people are dependent on you to show up to be you, that's a huge calling. How were you able to, or how are you able to put your journey in your speaking? So how are you able to transcend and say how you are through the journey that you've been through?
I think that's the only way I feel connected to people, and I feel like that's the only way that humanizes me. Like, I don't like to be on this on the speaking stage and, like, have people look at me like, oh, she's this, like, not idol, but like, oh, she's here. No, I want you to look at me and be like, baby, I'm telling you about this because I just went through this. I'm telling you that identity impacts how you show it because I just went through my own identity development when I was in college and also when I'm in my 30s. I'm telling you all these things because it happened to me. And so that's only how, like, certain spaces I won't accept for speaking because I'm like, I don't know if that's my space. Certain topics I do not talk about because I don't have a story for it or I don't have a connection to it, you know? And so how I'm able to just talk so much about myself, I really, honestly, I don't know. And I do it so just like, I just let people know.
So it just effortlessly comes out.
It effortlessly come out. But I will tell you this, and a lot of my friends know this, and I say this on social media. I tell a lot about my journey in life, and because of that, I am very private about my dating life because I share so much with people. And so I feel like I need something to myself, right? Like something to myself, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, even if I have kids, I don't think I'll probably be sharing a lot about that because it's just like I give so much. You know, people don't even think about that. When you tell so much and you're so vulnerable, you're reliving your trauma every time. Every time I tell these stories, I am reliving those experiences. Some people are like, oh, well, let it go. Don't talk about it. This is a part of me. So, like, it's easy to say, let it go and, like, oh, this happened, move past it. I know that this happened for a reason, and who knows how my story could touch someone else. It's not just about me anymore. And so Yeah, I think that's some of the key pieces and just some of those things. But I do choose to keep some areas of my life very private because of that.
Yeah. I mean, privacy is huge.
And people nosy. They just want to messy.
They'll be okay.
Because, and don't think that you're going to be following my man. Nope. You ain't going to know who he is.
There are certain things that we have to attach value to, and the only way to maintain the value that it has is by keeping it private.
Yeah, a little curiosity.
Yeah, a little curiosity. They keep people wanting more too.
Yeah. Wow. You always know how to get people there.
Do I?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of strange because people they give, and I receive, and really at heart I'm an empath.
Yeah.
So I'll be feeling for people at the same time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, it's always encouraging to see or to hear about where somebody was versus where they are. And I'm grateful that people find safety in being vulnerable with me and letting me see them for them, because it helps me realize that the struggles that I go through are not totally unique to just me. Because a lot of times when we're going through things, it's like, why just me, or why me? And why can't I be like this other person who seems to have it all together? When in reality, all of us go through things. And I've learned that it's important not to compare struggles, because your struggle may be a totally different struggle for somebody else. Yeah. You go to the gym, so it's like you're at the gym and you could be looking at what somebody else is lifting versus what you lifting versus what the next person is lifting. You don't know what that camera just went off.
Oh, dang.
You don't know what each individual is going through to be able to even make it where they are now. It's like this person may have just had back surgery or something, so they're rehabbing and they're only lifting this amount. This person may just have started their gym journey. This person may have been in the gym for a full year or so. But all in all, as long as you're getting up and you're trying and you're putting forth the effort, it is respectable. So I appreciate people being respectable. We're back.
Okay. But, I think it's this notion of, that's why I really believe in the brand and what you have about everybody's somebody. Because it's like, regardless of the title, regardless of like the struggle in people's story, everyone is somebody. Like, you're somebody. And so like, I value this conversation that we are having, because comparison is the root of all. It's the enemy, like, to compare yourself to people.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, even like I said, just being here and just this conversation was just nostalgic for me. You don't even know what you did, but it was nostalgic for me.
I appreciate you being here, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And I think it turned off again, but watch this. Sometimes you have to just, But in closing, I always give people a chance to give the people a message and tell them anything that they want to tell. So now's your time.
Oh, it's my time.
Yeah.
Okay. What do I want to say? I'm going to start off with something that you would say. Everybody is somebody. Everyone has a story. Everyone has a moment in their life where they want to give up. Every no that you have received is a redirection. I talk about, just in my TED Talk, the clarity and the chaos and just the things that I had to experience in order to get to where I'm at. And I think if you are a person that is struggling or trying to figure out why is life happening to you, remember what I'm saying. God will not take the best thing from you. He will not take the best thing in your life from you. I believe that. And so I don't know if my story will touch you. I don't know if this is something you may need to hear, but learning to unlearn the value in community and pouring into yourself and really showing up for yourself, because everybody is really somebody.
That was beautiful.
That was beautiful. You know what? Every time. We need to be in a coffee shop, like a real nostalgic coffee shop. That was beautiful. Thank you.
No, it was, truly.
Okay.
I love to hear the opinions of others.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I think life is hard.
It is.
Life is hard.
Thank you for showing up for yourself, not just for yourself, but for other people as well, because it's not taken in vain. And I know you go through the moments where you feel like, why should I keep doing this? Is this in vain? Are people receiving the messages that I'm giving? And people are receiving it. And they say you should know them by their fruits, right? People know by your fruits. People know by the way that you carry yourself. And we can see the genuinity through your messages. And just, like I said, just through the way that you carry yourself. Mm-hmm. Don't take that for granted. It is very appreciative.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. This was another episode of the Journey Up podcast, and I thank you guys for showing up. Hope you continue to show up for yourselves, show up for the people who are dependent on you, and never forget that you are somebody. Peace.